are you? Welcome to SOS, Saving Our Sex Lives. My name is LaKeesha Hines, and I am saving our sex lives one bedroom at a time. I want to say thank you guys for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being faithful, loyal Couples Academy members. I have a good one for you tonight. We are discussing intimacy, the six different types, and there are more, but we are focused on these top six tonight. Um, I see that we got somebody here early tonight, and you posted a question, and I'm going to address your question. I thank you for logging on early. That lets me know that you are really serious about trying to get some assistance. And so I'll say to you, Mr. Scott, that first of all, you need to book a session with me. That's number one. But I do want to try to address the question that you have here, and I will share for you guys. Ben says, how do I get past this? I am an 8-wing-7 who feels the counseling I have been given has shamed me for my sex drive. How do I get past that psychologically? It's ruined me. It has made my drive feel wrong. And he goes on to say, I am angry daily. I will say to you, Ben, this is not uncommon. It's actually something that I discussed in a previous episode where we were talking about how there can be desire discrepancies. And a lot of times you will get with a partner, your spouse may not have the same drive as you and may not desire sex as often as you do. And so that can cause some conflict. And one of the things that I shared was that it is critically important that we do not judge one another, that we do not make anybody feel as if something is wrong with them or that there's a problem with their drive. And that's for the high libido and that's for the low libido, because the person who's low, who gets with the high person, is saying, oh my God, what's wrong with you? You want it all the time. And then the person with the high, right, who has the one with the low, they're saying, oh my God, what's wrong with you? You never want it. You never initiate. And so it does cause conflict when there is that desire discrepancy. So I will say this to you. First of all, you being an 8-wing-7, I don't know where you fall, Mr. Ben, in terms of if you've gone through your Enneagram with Danielle, or if it's something that you took separately by yourself and then you just got results and went through it that way. I'm not sure. But um, 8s, are the protectors. They're the challengers and they're also the leaders. So I have a few questions, because here's the thing. You being an 8, a lot of times 8s want to protect themselves and they don't want to be dependent on anybody else. They do not believe in weakness, because emotional need to them is connected with weakness. For them, they don't feel safe showing softness or vulnerability. They always want to be in control of their environment. And so another thing is the fear for the 8 is of being harmed, of being violated, betrayed, and controlled. Controlled is a big thing. So I'm wondering if in your relationship, this has transformed over into the bedroom, because it can, where you may want to control things in the bedroom, and you may be with someone who doesn't like that, who that doesn't work with. And so I'm just wondering if that has translated over into the bedroom. And again, depending on where you are, on that spectrum of healthy on down to destructive. I don't know where you are on that spectrum, but if you're at the healthy level, then you're self-confident and you're assertive and you're courageous and you're strong and you're powerful, and you have a passionate inner drive, and I mean you're all about action, and you're protectors and you're providers, and you're loyal, right, to people who have earned your trust. So again, I don't know where you fall on that spectrum, because that's the high end, but the low end, the destructive 8 wants to stay in control at any cost, and they feel is a lot of times they have to fight for their survival, and they see themselves as outcasts. And so again, depending on where you are, it may not even be a situation where you're being viewed that way, but that's just your perception because you're not in a healthy place. I am not saying you're not in a healthy place. I'm saying I don't know where you are. And you have to be aware of that, because if you're not in a healthy place, then it can make you perceive certain things as being of you being judged or you being attacked, or it can't cause you to feel shame. Okay. So you got to see where you are with that. But I'm saying reach out, connect, book a session, couplesacademy.org, and let's get together and let's take a deep dive. But I just wanted to scratch the surface with that, because other people, I'm sure, may be dealing with this same thing that you're dealing with, that their drive, people have made them feel ashamed because their drive is high, or the person whose drive is low, they may have felt ashamed as well because it's low. So again, we have to meet people where we are, right? Meet them where they are. And sometimes it has to do with you guys speaking different sexual languages. And that's something else that we can get into. I'm actually talking about that next week. So tune in next week, because I'm going to take a deep dive into the different sex languages, because you guys may be speaking 2 different languages. Maybe you desire a certain type of intimacy and connection from your partner or your spouse. I don't know. And then because of that, you're not getting the frequency that you desire, but you may not be getting the frequency you desire because she's not getting the intimacy and connection that she desires. Okay. So hopefully tonight will help you. Hopefully you stay tuned in, because we're talking about intimacy, and you can see what type of intimacy you like and what you need, and then also hopefully tap into what it is that she desires. Okay. So first of all, I just want to say again, thank you, Ben, for joining. Thank you for watching. Hope that helps. Hey, Gonzalez. Hey, Jewel. Hey, Gail. Hello, Antoine, and anybody else who may be here and watching. Go ahead and drop your name and where you're tuning in from. I love to shout you out, but we're going to go ahead and jump into tonight's topics. Again, we are talking about intimacy, the 6 types of intimacy. And I want you guys to know, contrary to popular belief, intimacy is much more than sex and physicality. There are different types of intimacy, and that's what we're going to do. You'll discover how you can cultivate these intimacy styles to enhance your happiness and overall well-being. Intimacy is so important because it actually is the glue that holds relationships together, and not only romantic relationships, but any bond with people that we love and we care for. And so there are several types of intimacy that we can develop with other people. We can deepen the types of intimacy that we have with others because it benefits our mental and physical health. There are studies that suggest that people who enjoy a close connection with others are less vulnerable to the harmful effects of stress. They have better digestive health and improved sleep quality. Improved quality of sleep. Who is not going to sign up for that? I know I do. I'm signing up for better sleep, right? And also to be able to respond and to manage and deal with stress better. So intimacy has multiple benefits. And the more types of intimacy we develop beyond the physical, the more benefits we will actually reap. So let's go ahead and look at the first one, which is the one that everybody is familiar with, of course. I know. Physical. No shocker here, right? Everyone's familiar with this one. Many of us, before we educated ourselves, thought that it was the only one, but it's actually not. And the more we mature, the more we grow, and the more we learn, we realize that, you know what? The physical is good, like it's great, but the other ones can be just as life changing. Okay, so we'll start with the physical because that's the one that most of us, again, are familiar with. And so with the physical, this is actually the type of closeness that's limited to partners, spouses, close family members. But with romantic partners, physical intimacy is usually, but not exclusively, expressed through sex. It can also be expressed through hugging, kissing, and physical closeness. And if I don't stress anything else tonight about the physical, I want you guys to know that it means more than just sex. There are many other ways of developing intimacy. We just stick to the physical, we miss out on so much joy if we limit our understanding of intimacy to this one type. We should be cultivating as many types of intimacy as possible. And something else that we have to consider as we're referring to physical intimacy is culture dependency. Not all cultures and people are touchy-feely or feel comfortable in close personal contact with other people. So when we learn other types of intimacy, it doesn't mean intimacy is out of the question, because if they're not feeling the whole physical, touchy-feely, close contact, then we have 5 other ones that we're going to talk about tonight that we can tap into that will actually assist, right, with developing that level of intimacy. Hello, Felicia. Hi, Lindsay. Hey, Kathy. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining. Thank you for dropping your names. I appreciate it. All right. So we just covered the physical. And like I said, it is not just sexual. Don't you write it down, highlight it, circle it, underline it. It is not just physical. Okay. The next one is emotional. And why am I going here? This is for my ladies. This is for my ladies, because the majority of the time, what are we asking for, ladies? We're asking for emotional connection, closeness, emotional intimacy. And when we get that, we're more open to increases in the physical intimacy. Yes. If I am right, give me an amen, give me a thumbs up, give me a high five, give me something, drop it in the chat. But emotional intimacy involves us sharing our most private fears, concerns, and dreams. Fears, concerns, and dreams. The more we disclose, the higher the expectation that the other person won't judge or ridicule, but instead offer support. And it's not easy. This is hard work. Culture actually plays a role in this too. In addition to culture, personality plays a big role in determining like how open we are to emotional intimacy. But if we get past those barriers, it is so worth it. We can get relief when we're able to open up to people who understand our emotions and accept us without judgment. So one of the things that you can do in your relationship is to take turns asking each other about your individual fears, concerns, and dreams. You literally can go to 2 separate spaces in your home and you each write down 3 columns. One is fears, the other one is concerns, the third one, dreams. And after you have that comprehensive list, share it with each other. Take turns discussing your fears. Take turns discussing your concerns. Take turns discussing your dreams. One of the things that we do, especially when we've been together a really long time, is we stop dreaming. So we have to stay in this place, again, where we are dreaming individually and collectively. That is so important. And when we're able to share our fears, then that gives our partner an opportunity to see inside of us, of what we're thinking about and what affects us on a daily basis. And it gives them an opportunity to do something about it, to help us. If they are the source of the fear, then that gives them an opportunity to step in and try to make necessary adjustments so that you can feel closer and more connected. Okay, so that emotional intimacy, again, is critical for you guys being able to connect on a deeper level. Okay, the next one is intellectual. And man, let me tell you something. There are times where I've seen couples, right? And like sometimes they just don't look like they go together. You know what I mean? Like it's not the typical couple that you would see together. And so, me being who I am, I'm like, hey, what attracted the two of you to each other? Like, how did you get together? What did it for you? I'm always asking couples that question because, of course, I just love having those conversations. And more often than not, they tell me that they connected on an intellectual level. The person stimulated their mind, and therefore they overlooked what would not have necessarily been their type because they stimulated their mind, which was deeper and more valuable than the physical attraction and physical stimulation. The mental actually stimulated them physically. So that intellectual intimacy is huge. So this one really is about sharing feelings, discussing views or thoughts. And this could be planning for the future. It could be sharing your values, opinions about social or political issues, but most importantly, talking about social, political issues, plans for the future, values, morals, ethics, standards, without getting into an argument. If you want to work on any of the types of intimacy, you must be ready to embrace your vulnerability and be open to letting your guard down. Let them see your real, genuine, true, authentic self. Because honestly, your intellectual intimacy is born out of deep respect for others and for their understanding of the world, especially if it's different from your own. But having said that, I know it's hard to feel close to someone who has values that are diametrically opposed to yours. So finding someone who is somewhat like-minded is necessary if you want to build an intellectual bond. And the way that you can dig a little deeper, connect on another level intellectually is to take turns asking each other questions about various topics. There are so many websites that you can go to, cards that you can purchase, conversation starters that just ask like these random questions, broad questions, and it gives you an opportunity to take turns answering those questions so that you get into the intellect or the mind or the psyche of that person that you're with. And, if you have difficulty coming up with these questions on your own, that's why I'm saying there's so many websites you can go to. There's apps you can download. And like I said, there are cards, conversation cards that you can purchase that can help you with these conversations. So again, stimulating the intellect, extremely important. That is another way to connect with your partner. So we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll do the next 3. You guys hang on in there. You are watching SOS.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Okay, so we discussed three of the different types of intimacy: physical, emotional, intellectual, and now we are on to experiential. Okay, so this one kind of sounds like what it is. All right, this one develops between people who go through the same struggles, joys, or experiences. Okay, experiential experiences, right? Finding somebody who's gone through the same things as you can and actually does bring you closer together. It makes you both feel less alone and better understood. I think one really good example of this is, 2020 when this pandemic hit. Man, it shocked the world, and it showed how important experiential intimacy is for mental health. And so there's so many other situations where it's possible to achieve experiential intimacy. Some of the things that you can do would be to find someone to exercise with, pick up a new hobby, maybe find an online community around something that you really enjoy, that you're interested in. I will say though, when I'm speaking to spouses, if you were looking for an exercise buddy, if it's not your spouse, make sure that it is not a member of the opposite sex. So it should be two ladies going to exercise, two men going to exercise together, and not opposite sex exercise buddies, unless it's family. And even picking up a new hobby, you have to be so careful with these things, because one of the reasons why people end up in infidelity a lot of times is that they found a common interest with the person, they've connected on that level, and then they begin to communicate, spend time together, all these things, develop a friendship, and then next thing you know, it's beyond a friendship. So you just have to make sure, again, with these particular things, that you are um, connecting with a member of the opposite sex. Okay, so experiential intimacy, again, it can be about sharing experiences that are positive or negative, but as it pertains to your spouse, you guys should be having healthy experiences together and creating new memories. And especially those who are suffering from infidelity and really trying to recover from that, it's really important that you guys work to create new memories and have new experiences that are void of reminders of the betrayal. Okay, so that experiential intimacy, again, is really, really important, because truthfully, if there is infidelity, right, there are struggles there that you guys are going through together, and it can bring you closer together. Um, there are joys that take place, such as the birth of a baby or a new job, or moving into your first home together, buying your first car together, maybe buying some stock together or investing together or whatever. But there are experiences that you guys should be having together that, again, bring you closer together. Okay. All right. So the next one, creative intimacy. Man, if you've heard of this before, put a comment in the chat and say, yeah, LaKeesha, I heard of that before. If you haven't, like, when I was researching this, I'm like, man, that's interesting. And I think I had an understanding of it, but didn't have a name for it. So now I do. So this type of intimacy actually fosters self-expression through shared acts of creativity. And so it is normal to feel closer or to develop an intimate relationship with a person who has similar creative expression as our own. So this could be writing, dancing, painting, cooking, whatever. But as long as it is a shared act of creativity. And you can develop creative intimacy with your spouse um, when you're doing meaningful work. So it could be volunteering, finding new ways to help others, maybe who are less fortunate, right? So it can help create a strong bond with our spouses, and it can inspire us to do our best. So maybe you're not good at a particular type of dance or dance at all. Cultivate your creative intimacy through dance. Maybe you're not the best cook. Cultivate your creative intimacy through cooking. So there are many, many different things you could do. These are just some examples, but that brings you closer together when you are actually being creative together. And so I'll give you guys some ideas that became really popular. I want to say probably right before COVID is you could actually take a mixology class. And it doesn't have to be, for those of you who don't drink alcohol, it doesn't have to include alcohol. It literally can be, you know, just different juices with sodas and like seltzers and spritzers. Like there are different things that you can do that are non-alcoholic where you can still mix together and make a really, really nice drink. You can make a signature drink. Candle making. There are places where you can go and make candles together, so you can actually pick your own fragrance. Oils, same thing. You can create your own signature smell. And gosh, that was another one that I was thinking of. Oh, the pottery, where you can actually make like bowls and cups and different things, but you can do it together. So again, being creative. There are places you can go and actually paint pottery that's already made if that's not your jam. Like I'm not good with making pottery, but you can go there, you can pick out an item together and you guys can paint it together. So again, just being creative together, having shared acts of creativity, shared experiences with each other that can create another level of intimacy as well. Okay. The very last one, you guys, is spiritual intimacy. This one is so important to me personally because, for me, that physical connection is not just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, and it is spiritual as well. So you do connect on a spiritual level when you are physically intimate with your spouse and with your partner. But it's not just that, right? It's also sharing religious beliefs, right? And it can help people to find support and acceptance, when you connect intimate spiritually. And it can extend to our values and our morals and our beliefs on a much wider scale. So it's similar to intellectual intimacy, but it has a focus on personal growth. And so I just, really want to ask you guys, when you are with someone, your spouse specifically, right? And you see them working on themselves with intent to grow personally, aren't they more attractive to you when you see them growing, developing, maturing on a spiritual level and focused on self improvement? Because to me, I'm like, ultimately, I benefit from your personal growth. And when I grow personally, my husband benefits. So isn't that like more, doesn't it make them more attractive to you? Or am I by myself? Let me know. So, one example of how you can actually increase your spiritual intimacy is if one of you has a mindfulness practice and your partner begins to practice mindfulness too, then that's a way that you guys can connect on a spiritual level. And, praying together, studying the Bible together, or whatever faith you have, whatever beliefs you have, but practicing that together creates that spiritual intimacy. And I think that, again, is so important because it's so much deeper than just the physical. And so, some things that you can do to develop different types of intimacy overall, not just the physical, emotional, intellectual, experiential, creative, or spiritual, is actually, man, accept vulnerability. Understanding that when you become intimate with your spouse, it requires a high degree of personal involvement and it can make us feel vulnerable, but the vulnerability is what makes us human. And there's nothing wrong with sharing worries or negative emotions. So if you want to work on any type of intimacy, that I discuss with you, you have to be ready to embrace your vulnerability and be open to letting your guard down with your spouse. All right. Second thing, trust people. To develop true intimacy, we have got to trust our spouses instead of anticipating negative situations or behaviors that haven't even happened. So you have to trust that your spouse is going to be there for you and that their intention is a caring one, even if they don't always respond the way that you expected us to. Which then leads me to communication skills. Every single episode that you watch with me with SOS, communication is going to come up. Trust can actually be eroded if the people that we have faith in react in an unexpected or unsupportive way. But you cannot nurture resentment because maybe they didn't mean what they said, or maybe you misinterpreted their words. So instead of, nurturing resentment or anticipating the worst or negative reaction, express your feelings openly without making accusations, because we all make mistakes and we can all improve our levels of acceptance and our communication skills. The next thing is cherish everything. Never take the ones that you're intimate with or your shared experiences with them for granted. You have to make a point of letting them know how much these moments of intimacy matter, why they matter, and that you will always be there for them. Okay? Be present. When you spend time in any type of intimacy building activity, you cannot allow distractions. You have to give your full and undivided attention to your spouse. That is the best gift that you can give. Be patient. Not everybody communicates in the same way or at the same pace, and it may take some time for you or your spouse to open up and be comfortable doing so, especially if there's been some past hurts that you guys are still working through and trying to navigate through. So try not to get frustrated if things don't flow smoothly at first, because intimacy is a lifelong pursuit. So you have to be patient and just try to enjoy every step of the journey. And the last thing I want to share with you is that all types of intimacy are worth cultivating. And our ability to develop different types of intimacy with our spouse is one of the things that makes us human. All 6 types that we talked about can enrich your life and benefit your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So I want you guys to really, really focus on improving and increasing these types of intimacy. Because guess what? Your emotional, intellectual, experiential, creative, and spiritual are going to affect what happens in the physical. So if you're trying to get busy in the bedroom, get busy increasing intimacy in these other areas, and that'll help you get there. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching again. Thank you for joining me tonight. Oh, Monica gave us a good, I'm looking at the chat now. I'm sorry I missed this. Miss Monica said paint and sip. Yes, ma'am. That is a good one to be creative with. Really, really good. And Glenn, you said you have so many questions that you want to ask me. Reach out, book a session, Mr. Glenn. Or Glenn could be a female, I don't know. But you did ask, how can you get them to put their phone down? Well, listen, that is a really good question. And so I would say to you, it depends on why they're picking up the phone in the first place. Are they not interested in the interaction that's taking place? Is it not fun for them? Is it not stimulating for them? Are they not into you? I don't know. There could be so many reasons, but I think initially starting with a conversation about, 1, your desire that you want them to put the phone down, 2, why it's important to you, and 3, ask them, what can I do to get you to put your phone down? Sometimes it's walking past walking past them naked. That might get them to put their phone down. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in your house and in your situation, but I would say start with communication, start with the conversation. Get to the root of the why. I'm always curious about the why. Why are you always on your phone? And then, like I said, expressing to them how important it is to you that you need that time with them and that you want to connect on a more intimate level in these different areas. And that does require them giving their full undivided attention. Okay, so I hope this helped you guys. And again, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Team Smith. Gonzalez said, trust the process. Trust the process. And so again, Reach out, reach out. Jules said throw it out the window. I don't know if you should do that. That's not LaKeesha's advice, but definitely you shouldn't be getting in trouble when you speak about phone time. I think one of the previous episodes I talked about that as well, and how important it is to have designated times where the phone just goes off, where we're just done with the phone. This is our time. And so I think maybe coming at it from that approach, that listen, you can be on your phone, that's not the issue, but I think that we need to have our designated time, sacred time, where no one is able to interact. Children, family, work, whatever. This is our designated time. So maybe approach it in that way, that listen, you can have your phone all these other hours, but this hour right here is mine. Okay. So maybe try that. And if not, call me. All right. Again, thank you guys so much for joining. I do appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful night. And I will see you next week. Bye.